Welcome, ladies and gents. Chris Andre here. You can find me at BetBoxing on Twitter for boxing-related tweets, or you can subscribe to the channel. Click that notifications button, getting you notification whenever a new video is uploaded. And you can hit that like button too if you can be bothered. Please help the channel grow. Let's talk boxing. I've uploaded a couple of videos already tonight. One on Anthony Yarde and the training change he's made, bringing in James Cook. Hatman's already replied on that, so check out the comments below as well, and everybody please give your opinions. Additionally to that, I've also uploaded another video tonight of Anthony Joshua and the potential of him bringing in Vladimir Klitschko and Floyd Mayweather, I believe, as advisors, right? It seemed to be a suggestion of advice rather than full-time trainers or anything like that. But he did say that, you know, he's looking forward to what they've got to potentially offer. You know, they're always welcome. And yeah, check out that video. Let me know if you think it can offer anything, or whether it won't make a difference at all and it's no different to just a little pep talk on a phone, or whether it could actually hinder Anthony Joshua if they're really involved. Let me know what you think on that. Moving on, because I've been away for a few days, I haven't brought you guys obviously a video, so I wanted to bring together a video, really a roundup, discussing various other issues that I've wanted to discuss. First and foremost, we'll start off with Jermall Charlo. He has brought in Mark Breland, the guy, obviously, that you guys are aware has been sacked by Deontay Wilder for supposedly involving himself in treacherous shenanigans and being involved in some corruption there. That's what the accusation was, of course. I'm not suggesting that's the case. But as far as I'm aware, he'll be working alongside Ronnie Shields, right, his existing head coach. Obviously, both Shields and Breland, great boxing men who have really got brilliant experience in sport and could part a wealth of knowledge for the Charlos. But what I find interesting is that, if I'm not mistaken, and please correct me on this because I'm not always up to date with who's friends with who and stuff like that, but if I'm not mistaken, the Charlos and Wilder are kind of cool with each other, right? I mean, I know they're part of the whole PBC thing, but I think they were friends, or at least they supported Wilder, yeah? If I'm not mistaken. And I know Clarissa Shields is a big fan of Wilder's, and he's a fan of hers, and she's quite close to the Charlos, and she's quite close to Errol Spence, who's, you know, friends with him too, and stuff like that. So as far as I know, they've got like this PBC group of friends thing going on. And I'm not saying they're best friends, but they've got some sort of relationship. Well, it's somewhat of a kick in the teeth, a thumb in the eye, if they're basically saying, Wilder, not only do I think you're talking absolute rubbish, a whole heap of rubbish, I actually don't think he's treacherous at all, to the point where I'm willing to trust this man enough to bring him into my camp. Now, I've obviously uploaded a video the other day of Deontay Wilder discussing the psychology of, you know, the things he's going through and what he's talking about, you know, in terms of returning and refinding that greatness. And a few of you came at me. Some of you I don't think actually watched the video, even though you came at me. Please watch it and then give your opinion, rather than just give your opinion without actually knowing what I'm saying. I'm not saying he's right to have said any of the things he said, but yes, I do think he is a very, very dangerous heavyweight by any standard. He would have had a puncher's chance against anyone. If he lands that long right hand against anyone flush, they're in serious trouble. And yes, he's a very exciting fighter to have in the ring. So, especially when he's not a belt holder, because a lot of people are sitting there saying to me, he held the belt hostage. Cool, fine, I get that. But when he's chasing belts, if he's back in the sport, you can't tell me Deontay Wilder's not going to be an exciting addition to the heavyweight division. When he's chasing these guys, come on, man. He can clear anyone's clock inside a second, but he also strikes you as vulnerable. So, yeah, I do want to see him back in the ring. But check out that video. Let me know what you think. For this particular video, though, like I said, we're talking about a roundup of things. And to me, this whole issue with Charlo, it's a thumb in the eye, like I said. And it's almost going to make Deontay look at himself and perhaps consider, wow, man, is the narrative around me, the people that have been pushing this narrative, such rubbish that other people who, you know, I respect are willing to trust this guy? Or is he going to double down on it and think to himself, these guys do not realize what they've done. This is a Julius Caesar scenario. They're bringing a traitor into the camp. Let me know what you think. Now, Jermall Charlo, the brother of Jermall, has tweeted support of Jake Paul, saying, I'm 154, not the same weight, so I've got no intentions of fighting the dude. But from afar, that guy, I'll be careful with the language I use, that guy is doing some things that boxers wish they could do. So what he's doing is taking a very different approach to what a lot of fighters have taken. A lot of fighters have been aggressive or wanted to fight Jake Paul. They dislike him, and let's be honest, he's not the most likable of characters. At least that's not how he portrays himself, right? The persona is not likable. And a lot of fighters see it as this guy has come in, a YouTuber, a random guy making all this money, and he's not really earned his stripes. So they want to target him, whereas Jermall was seeing it as, look, at the end of the day, he's being smart about this and building himself up and making a lot of money. Now, I know there have been talks of match fixing, fight fixing, ahead of a post-fight with Ben Askren and stuff like that. Listen, man, I've yet to see the fight. I don't know what's going on with all that. It's a circus, let's be honest. It is a circus. But, you know, like I said in my video, when I put up a video not that long ago, and I was discussing Mickey Theo's potential fight with John Fury, and I was saying how it captured the imagination, and, you know, now you got Holyfield coming back to fight on Triller. You had Mike Tyson fighting Roy Jones. You know, you got Shannon Briggs back in the mix. All these guys. It's almost like the character, right? You're watching characters. Same mentality with wrestling. When you see someone like Ric Flair or Hulk Hogan or The Rock come back, you're not rooting for these guys because of they could do the same sort of things they could do athletically in the past. It's the storyline you're buying into. So is that what Jermall's saying? What's your position on this? I will never pay for a pay-per-view when it comes to Jake Paul. I can pretty much tell you that now. I'm not interested in watching a pay-per-view. There's a morbid curiosity there. If he fights Tyson Fury's brother, Tommy, yeah, I'd watch that post-fight, but I'm not interested in it as a pay-per-view. But clearly it captures the imagination of a lot of people, and they're paying money for it. So let me know what your take is on all that and what Jermall's position is. Now let's move on to Billy Joe Saunders. Billy Joe is looking brilliant. He's looking, seriously, the dude looks like a model, okay, a Baywatch model. Does that mean he's going to look even better in the ring? Well, here's the thing, right? A lot of people say, oh, he's been juicing again. Listen, we both know that both of these fighters have a checkered past when it comes to these things. Let's not get into that. Let's just focus on the fight aspect of it. And when you're considering this, you have to consider that he's going down uncharted territory here with the sort of physique he's getting. He looks very muscular. You don't know how he's going to carry that excess muscle. He's never been more muscular. I've never seen him more muscular. Is it going to make him gas? Is he going to feel, muscles filling up with lactic acid? Because surely his plan is not to stand center ring and trade with Canelo. Surely his plan is not to come in and try and knock Canelo Alvarez out. Canelo Alvarez has got a neck like a hippopotamus. He took some huge shots. That's not to say he hasn't been hurt. He has been hurt in his career. But more recently, where he's become a lot thicker, thicker set, bigger man, he seems to have an iron chin. Is he banking on coming in and trying to take him out because he doesn't trust the judges? We also saw the complaint coming in, because he's been saying he wants an even playing field, where they were guaranteed at least one English judge. And apparently, according to Billy Joe, if I'm not mistaken, he's saying that's been taken off the table, which obviously is causing huge controversy, as it should. If you had some sort of pre-fight agreement and they're moving away from that, particularly with some of the history of the judging in Canelo fights, it's a cause for concern. Is he really going out there thinking, I want a knockout? Or is it just a case of him thinking, yeah, I'm going to be in the best possible physical shape, and hopefully that carries me over the line, because we've seen him gas in the past. But being more muscular might not help lung capacity, or it might. Maybe he will be more athletic generally. Maybe he'll carry that weight in a more explosive manner and move around more quickly. Let me know what you think here. Maybe he's been doing a lot of this work, which is, his abs are more defined, maybe a lot more defined. I've never seen him have a defined midsection like that. Is he preparing for an assault on the body? And he's thinking, listen, it's not affecting my mobility, it's not affecting my stamina, but I want to create like a body armor of muscle, because I know that Canelo's going to start bringing huge shots, and I need some sort of muscular barrier between his punches and my internal organs. We saw what he did to the arm of Callum Smith. We've seen him destroy bodies in the past. We've seen Liam Smith collapse like a sack of potatoes with a devastating body shot. Is Billy Joe trying to adapt to that? And if so, Is it a good idea to go down a route you've never been down before in preparation for Canelo Alvarez? He is going down uncharted territory. What if he doesn't carry the muscle well? More big news is Eddie Hearn obviously signing this huge contract with Dazn. He seems to be moving away from Sky and to Dazn. What does this mean for the sport in this country? Are Sky going to invest in another boxing promoter? They're going to take on a Mick Hennessy. I always thought the logical sort of replacement would have been the Sauerlands, because we all know that, you know, the Sauerlands are very popular, particularly one of the brothers. We all know that. And so, you know, that could have been we know they're brilliant promoters, and we know that they're very likable guys, and they will translate and have translated very, very well with the British public. So if you've got that likability and their willingness to make great fights, and they've got really good reputations. They have got good reputations as promoters. None of their fighters, as far as I'm aware, have come out and criticized them in any way. It seems like a match made in heaven. Obviously, they've signed with a German group now. So where does that leave Sky? Do they go for Mick Hennessy? Mick Hennessy seems more like a bit of a throwback, you know. Maybe he would do well on Sky. There's no doubt that he's a good promoter, and with that backing, maybe he could start to bring through those shows. Steve Goodwin might be another one. Steve Goodwin, of course, hasn't had that huge platform in the past. He could be the one to step up. Who knows? Is that the route Sky are going to take? Are they going to go down the HBO route and just move away from the sport? I've heard someone say that Adam Smith was either preparing or had already started to work on darts. Is that a plan to essentially move in another direction in his career? Let me know what you think. I was watching a Ringside Fracas tonight as well, and they were discussing the whole issue with AJ and Dillian Whyte and where they go from here with regards to this. As far as I know, and again, please correct me if I'm wrong, both fighters have independent contracts, which leaves them in quite a fluid position. So they're not linked to just Eddie solely or Matchroom solely, and they're not linked to just Sky solely. So you could see them move from Dazn to Sky back and forth potentially on a fight-by-fight basis. You might also have a situation maybe where, you know, maybe Whyte, for instance, has a Sky platform for the UK and then a license with Dazn for worldwide rights, maybe. I don't know how, you know, I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to pretend I'm too au fait with the ins and outs of this particular contract and the business agreements they could potentially have here. But what does it mean for Sky? They would surely have to keep at least one of AJ and Whyte, right? Why they then try to build up another guy. Because if you take those two guys out, who's really ready to take on that mantelpiece? Let's say they do both move exclusively to work with Dazn. Where does that leave Sky Boxing? Who's ready to take over the reins? Khan's past it. Brooks past it. Who else have they really built up? Conor Benn is moving towards that direction. But is he really a pay-per-view star yet? He's got the best viewing figures outside of Dillian Whyte and Anthony Joshua with Sky. So outside of the heavyweight division, might they make a move for a guy like Anthony Yard, you know, or Lyndon Arthur, you know, and try and build someone up like that? Who knows? Let me know what you think, guys. What do you think the future is for Sky in particular and boxing? Would you be upset if you did see them go the way of HBO, or do you like the idea of Dazn? One of the potential dangers that Dazn faces is that because it's a platform whereby it's solely gonna, I know they're looking at other sports as well, but at the moment it's solely about almost like a Netflix for sport, and you sign up to it for the sport, and then you go and watch. You can watch fights back after the fact, which is great for UK boxing fans who might not have the luxury of staying up till 4 or 5 in the morning, 6 in the morning to watch Vegas shows, right? But when you're an isolated platform like that, advertisement is harder to come by unless you're paying other media organizations quite big money to advertise consistently on their channels. Whereas Sky will be showing a big football match, and all those casual fans, which really are the driving force behind pay-per-view, okay, they're the driving force. It's not the hardcore fans. We're a cult sport. Us hardcore fans, you guys that are here on a channel like this, you're hardcore boxing fans. The majority of guys that pay for the pay-per-views of Whyte and AJ and Tyson Fury and these sorts of guys, and in the US, Canelo and so on and so forth, they're casual boxing fans. They're big sports fans, or they're football fans that will see the promotion. Arsenal are playing Tottenham, Man United are playing Man City, and they're watching their Premier League game, and it will keep flashing up across the screen. Don't forget, next week, Anthony Joshua fights Tyson Fury, and they promote the fight like that. Obviously, they've got other outlets, Talk Sport and all these other sports radio channels. But with Dazn, they will have to pay for that because they won't have the luxury of being of doing what Sky do, because nobody will sign up to Dazn unless they're showing, say, football or any other sport that isn't a cult sport. So let me know if you think this is destined to fail for Dazn. Maybe you think this is a mistake by Eddie Hearn. Let me know what your position is on that. Also, I want to talk about Teofimo Lopez and George Kambosos. For you guys that saw that, it almost looked like an eruption. It came close to them erupting, where George Kambosos told Lopez, after he said that he was ready to fight right now, Kambosos said you couldn't even make the weight right now. So Lopez took up his shirt, showed his six-pack, and Kambosos after that was gloating. I'm in his head. You know, why would you want to prove yourself to me like that? I'm in your head. You know you can't make the weight. When Lopez then started to move towards Kambosos, did you see Kambosos' right leg? He got into stance. A lot of times when guys are walking forward, they'll get forehead to forehead and you'll hear them what, and they'll push each other and all that. Kambosos dropped that right leg back, kept that left arm, he's holding the microphone, so he's not really cocking his hand, but he's kept it in position. And he's put his left shoulder into the chest of Lopez. And he sort of gave him a little nudge with the shoulder. Kambosos was ready to go. Now, I'm not telling you that means anything. Lopez could go out there and smash him up, right? It doesn't mean anything. But there's something in Kambosos' eyes, man. He's not there to roll over. This guy is not there to roll over. You hear a lot of guys talk about they're going to do this, they're going to do that, and they don't seem to have that fight in them. I will do a breakdown video of this fight closer to the fight, of course. But Kambosos wants this, and he believes in himself. Bear in mind, when there was talk of him taking step-aside money for Lopez to fight Devin Haney, Kambosos went nuts. It's my fight. You wait in line. You've done nothing. You haven't fought anyone. He was going nuts on Twitter. Sit your ass down fighting these old men. Devin Haney, who do you think you are? Get in line. I'll beat Lopez. Then I'll beat you. He fought to get this fight. He fought for the right to fight this fight. And he didn't expect the sort of purse bids that Triller put in to make that sort of life-changing money. And he would have got step-aside money, then a shot at the title anyway. So people can't accuse him of, oh yeah, he just wanted a payday. He wants the fight. But regardless of how the fight will go, this guy's serious, I believe, mentally. Let me know what you think. Am I overanalyzing his mental and emotional outlook? Finally, can someone give me a bit of a breakdown on this whole thing with Christopher Lovejoy? Manuel Charr is supposedly fighting him on the 15th of May, right? And Manuel Charr has had to come out and say, we're still confident that Charr and Lovejoy will meet in the ring and are willing to settle the situation with Don King, said Errol Ceylan, Charr's promoter. However, we are prepared to give a different opponent the chance to take on our guy if necessary. What is going on with this man? Is this guy a fighter or what? Like, I've heard some rumors that he's just using it to promote other aspects of his life. I've heard that he's genuinely a fighter and he can actually fight a little bit. And Don King is just holding him hostage. What is going on with that fight, man? Seriously. Yeah, he's an interesting character. Why are guys even signing up to fight him, particularly after some of the things that have happened to other fighters being left high and dry? Let me know what your position is on that. And finally, I know I said finally a second ago, but this is a real finally. Andy Ruiz has been called out by Dillian Whyte. He basically said it's a strategic fight against Arreola. It's a garbage fight. He called him a fake Mexican. Dillian Whyte just being Dillian Whyte. And the thing is with Whyte, right, he said it's a typical joke fight from the fake Mexican. You know that Dillian Whyte disapproves of this fight. Not just because it's, you know, talk and he wants the big fights and these guys are rival heavyweights. He means it because he takes risk after risk. Now, logically, as a fan, as a guy who's trying to put a matchmaker hat on, it makes sense to me. He's got a brand new trainer. He's going to be working on new things. Why take the risk? If you can make a lot of money fighting Chris Arreola because it's going to capture the Mexican-American fans' imagination, then of course you're going to take that fight. Why would you not make a bag if you're going to make it without really having to exert yourself too much, so to speak? But, yeah, This is not going down well with Dillian Whyte. He called it a strategic comeback fight, make him look like, oh yeah, he's this and he's that. But on paper, it's not. If you run it on paper, it's not. Because Chris Arreola is shot. Chris Arreola has been shot for years. If he was fighting Arreola a few years ago, people will be like, nah, that's a garbage fight. Now it's the same, if not worse. He was a decent fighter in his heyday, but he's been retired for 2 years since losing to Adam Koznowski. I have to say, I personally always say, when it comes to these sorts of tick-over fights or learning fights, at least put in a guy who's durable or coming to win. Now, you can imagine Arreola coming to win. He strikes me as a sort of guy who's going to give it his all. But he has been retired now for 2 years and he was washed up way before that. It is a bit of a joke fight. Fair enough, they want to get him active. He's been inactive for so long now. They just want to get that body moving, really, and see what he's got and what he hasn't got. I get it. And it's a way of making money. I do get it. But from Whyte's perspective, he's frustrated. He wants the big fights. He feels like he's been denied them. Let me know what you think. Where do you think Dillian Whyte will go from here? Will he fight the winner over Ruiz, Arreola? Or will he go the Deontay Wilder route or some other route? Let me know what you think. Thanks for watching, everyone. Chat to you soon. Take care. God bless. Please hit that like button.